The DNC and the RNC were each party's opportunity to lay out their respective vision for America's future. The problem for Republicans is that the RNC was when they were running against Joe Biden, and they were so cocky about their electoral prospects that they never even bothered hiding the overt fascism. They handed out signs that read, "Mass deportation now." The roll call was a somber affair akin to a king's coronation, and Donald Trump's own speech was a 2-hour diatribe spent mostly filleting himself and offering boilerplate platitudes about how Democrats will usher in a dystopian hellscape. But with Kamala Harris as the nominee, the DNC offered the one thing that the RNC didn't feel that it needed to offer: a sense of joy. Here's a small sampling of what I mean.
Hope, Gus, and Gwen, you are my entire world, and I love you.
Everybody over here, say comma! Everybody over here, say la!
Together!
Let us choose. Let us choose truth, let us choose honor, and let us choose joy.
And if there is any doubt about the extent to which joy is actually important, consider the fact that Democrats are running against the same opponent. The danger of a Trump presidency didn't change in the time between Joe Biden being the nominee and Kamala Harris being the nominee. What changed is the Democrats' ability to effectively prosecute the case against him for a second term and, consequently, the introduction of a sense of joy into the campaign. And the result of that? A staggering $540 million raised and 200,000 volunteer shifts. To claim then that joy and hope and optimism aren't massively important is ignoring every metric that proves that it is. But it's not just that intangible that's had an impact. Consider another major theme of the DNC: unity. And it's not just unity among Democrats. Find me another convention in U.S. history that featured speakers like this on stage.
Being inside Trump's White House was terrifying. But what keeps me up at night is what'll happen if he gets back there. To my fellow Republicans, you aren't voting for a Democrat. You're voting for democracy.
Let me be clear to my Republican friends at home watching. If you vote for Kamala Harris in 2024, you're not a Democrat, you're a patriot.
He has no empathy, no morals, and no fidelity to the truth. Now here I am, behind a podium, advocating for a Democrat. And that's because I love my country more than my party.
Let's turn the page. Let's put country first. Let's put adults in the room where our country deserves.
Again, Trump was so cocky that far from seeking to expand his coalition, he wasted his time at the RNC focused solely on doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on his base. There was little daylight between your run-of-the-mill Trump rally and the Republican National Convention. But the Democrats sought to expressly broaden their appeal to more Americans. To claim that Donald Trump missed a huge opportunity is an understatement, to say the least. The fact is that Kamala's campaign, yes, embraces popular Democratic ideals that unto themselves garner the support of Americans across the country, like protecting reproductive rights and combating climate change and lowering healthcare costs and passing common-sense gun safety solutions and taking on price gougers. But before all of that, it focuses on something more foundational: protecting democracy. Because without a functioning democracy, it doesn't matter where you stand on the issues. Whether you want more or fewer taxes, whether you want stronger or weaker states' rights, you need democracy to work first. That is the basis on which every policy is built. According to a recent Marist poll, independents are breaking for Kamala Harris over Trump by a staggering 9-point margin, 53 to 44. The same poll 2 weeks earlier showed Trump leading with independent voters by a 14-point margin, meaning since Harris became the nominee, we have seen a massive 23-point swing to the left. which again underscores the fact that Donald Trump is not running a campaign intended to expand his tent. He seems to be running on an extremist agenda of stripping women of the rest of their reproductive rights, banning abortion medication, consolidating power in the executive branch, and deporting tens of millions of people. Does that sound like a centrist platform to you? So again, the disparity between these two conventions is massive, and further illustrates how Donald Trump's hubris has prevented him from capitalizing on one of the few moments he has left, especially in light of the fact that he is falling behind in the polls. But it also illustrates the extent to which Kamala Harris and the Democrats are laser-focused on appealing to the exact voters that they need to be appealing to, from young people to people of color to independents to pro-democracy Republicans. This Democratic convention had something for everyone, and the response it's gotten is a testament to the fact that it's working. Before you go, to see more content from MSNBC, make sure to subscribe to this channel by clicking the link right here on the screen. And you can also follow the link to see some exclusive content only on TikTok.